Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about Huichong春江晓景二首 by Su Shi. This is a memorial to the 917th anniversary of Su Shi's death. He was the most greatest poet in the Song dynasty probably, and who is maybe the very few, maybe the only one Song dynasty poet I admired. I have a Su Shi's poem before about Li Zhi, so the eatings. Su Shi has a lot of titles. The poet is just one of them. And the another one very famous till today is he's a great foodie, gourmet, and one of the family dishes eating today, 东坡肉, was invented by Su Shi. It may not be the real story, but anyhow, everybody know Su Shi is really a foodie, a great foodie with intellectual and with great masterpiece, poet, articles, paintings, handwritings, lot of them. So he was very few people in the Chinese history can do everything. The only thing he's not good at is politics. In fact, Su Shi starts his career very early. In his 21st years old, he went to the imperial exam with his brother and his father, and all three of them passed the exams, and Su Shi was the second, only because of the charging official wrongly taken Su Shi's paper as his own student's paper. So to show the modesty of his attitude, he made this paper, the paper of Su Shi's, as the second. After the exam, this secret was known by everybody actually, and this made the Su Shi much more famous, and the emperor knows him very well. This was the 21st years old Su Shi. In his whole life, he has 2 times to serve the emperor more closely, working in the capital, Bianliang. But most of his time he was sent to the remote places because his political opinions was not accepted by the emperor or by the charging prime ministers. So he stayed in a lot of places, but in the very end he was sent to the Hainan Island, which is the most remote places. So actually he doesn't have a very good life through his lifetime. Even he has a very great fame in his young days. This poem was written in the age of 48, the first time he came back to the capital city, Bianliang, after a long time of exile. So in the capital, he has a chance to see this famous painting by Huichong, a well-known monk who is good at paintings. So this probably happens at a good friend of him, or maybe at the palace, the royal palace, to see the collection of the emperors. So, but it only happens in the capitals, not in the remote place Su Shi lived in the past years. 春江晓景 is the name of the painting by monk Huichong. 二首 means the This is a two poems writing on the paintings. Precisely, it's not on the paintings. The old Chinese books or paintings is in a row. So if I have something others to write on the paper or write on the paintings, you use a piece of new papers to write your poems, or you put some new paintings on it and then attach to the end of the row. So the row becomes bigger and bigger. So the poem actually is when Su Shi see the paintings and he have a lot of feelings, so he write the poems and attached to these paintings. The paintings lost, but the poem still exists. Okay, let's have the poem first. 惠崇春江晓景二首，苏轼。竹外桃花三两枝，春江水暖鸭先知。蒌蒿满地芦芽短，正是河豚欲上时。So the name 惠崇春江晓景二首. The 晓景二首 is the painting's name, and Huichong is the painter's name, a monk. 竹外桃花三两枝. So the peach flowers could be seen through the bamboo forest. So if you have been to the Jiangnan place, the downstream of Yangtze River or the midstream of Yangtze River, so there's bamboos everywhere, in the village, outside the village, along the roads, everywhere is bamboos. Some places the bamboo is several bamboo trees, but some places it's remote, not in the mountains, just like forest. So it's so green, just like forest. So here we are talking about the bamboo forest along the rivers. So it could be some places where dense, some places it's not much bamboo trees. So you can see several, 3 or 2 peach flowers through the bamboos, green and pink. So you have the color as well. It's very, very delighted, very vivid picture. 春江水暖鸭先知. So the river of spring is warm now. The duck knows it. Why duck knows it? Because in the winter the duck is on the shores, on the bank, and now all the duck is floating on the rivers, and the icebergs is gone. But you still feel the cold here, because only the duck know it's warm. So you can still imagine a lot of other animals or plants still show the signs of winters. And the weather, I guess, is cold. It's not so cold in the deep winters, but it's still cold. So this sentence is at the very surface, I think it's getting the spring's come. Everything is getting lived up, but the second thought you will think they're still very cold. The warm is inside, only known by the duck. And the writing techniques is very unique because the poet tried to think the duck's way, because we only saw the ducks floating on the rivers. That's the thing, everybody can see that, but not everybody can think as a duck thinks. And actually, nobody knows how duck thinks, but you can try to act as a duck and think why duck is on the bank most of the time. And from 2 days ago, a week ago, they're all floating on the rivers all the time. In the winter, they never do that. 芦蒿满地芦芽短. 芦蒿kind of grass very popular in China, north and south. And 芦芽, another grass. One is dark green and the other is very light green, or it's roughly like yellow, the color in yellow. So we have the still image in the first sentence. It's about plants, bamboo, the flowers, and then we have a dynamic, vivid picture about the duck. It's dynamic. And the third sentence is we go back to the still image. Again, it's about grass. So two kind of grass. One is everywhere and the other is still short. And these two grass is used as recipe in the fish dishes. Let's see. 正是河豚欲上时. So it's just the time the pufferfish would coming up the stream. Pufferfish has the habit to go upper the rivers, streams in the spring times, and the other times they lived in the seas. So you can see the pufferfish in groups going upstreams in the spring. And also it's an indicator of the spring as well. But as a Chinese, we have a very popular saying is 拼死吃河豚. So a kid knows the河豚 is the most delicious fish, but it has a great danger to eat the fish because it's poison in some of the parts. So when you're dealing with the puffer fish, you should be very careful to remove the poison part or organs, and then you can cook the fish. Otherwise, you just like eating poison. And 拼死 means for the death's sake, you are eating the puffer fish. So it's very delicious. So give you a impression of feeling a sense of delicious fish. So here 拼死 正是河豚欲上时, 上 is go up, is dynamic. It's telling the pufferfish swimming upstream. But also it implies the fish is up to the tables. It's a time to put on the tables to eat them. And also the 芦蒿 and 芦芽 is the recipe for cooking the pufferfish. So all these combined together. So we Chinese know it's a springtime, so it's a good time to eat delicious fish. So I'm not sure if Su Shi implies the pufferfish is a good dish in this poem, but he's a great foodie, we know it. So all the pufferfish dishes is all my wild guess, but it's quite popular thing sauce among the modern Chinese. So for Su Shi, I don't know, because I cannot think as average people of Song dynasty, just like Su Shi thinking the way of the duck's way. That's too difficult for me. This poem actually reflects the attitude or philosophy of Su Shi between the paintings and poem. So in one of his poems also is to write about a town's painting by Wang Wei. Su Shi has the words, 谓摩诘之诗，诗中有画；观摩诘之画，画中有诗。So when you read the poem of the Wang Wei, there's pictures in the poem. And when you watch the paintings of Wang Wei, you feel a poem in the paintings. Actually, Su Shi is the same kind of person. He's very good at painting and good at poem writings, poetries. And in his poetry, there's also pictures like this one. And in his paintings is full of the sense of poetry. And for the lifetime experiences, Su Shi is quite like Wang Wei as well. They became very famous, the country famous, in very early age. Wang Wei is in his 20s and Su Shi is 21. And looks like they have a very good career path ahead. Anyhow, they have the worst career experience. And since the middle age, they spend their time, energy, and their thoughts on something others, paintings, poems, and Taoism, and Buddhism. It's all same between these two, Wang Wei and Su Shi. So remember, we have the philosophy for the Chinese intellectuals, scholars of the ancient China. 达则兼济天下，穷则独善其身. So Su Shi is one of the most typical intellectuals to reflect these values. Okay, that's for today. I hope you enjoy it and enjoy the nice foodie stories. This poem was written in a good time of Su Shi when he just back to the capital city. The poem Spring, the dark becomes vivid, becomes live, and the pufferfish, the gesture is going up. So everything indicates it's a very good time for Su Shi in the political careers. Maybe he has a very bright future at the time being. Anyhow, the unique of Su Shi is when he was in the very remote place, no hope at all for his careers, and sometimes in poverty, he has a lot of time in short of the food, but he's still quite optimistic. You cannot feel any disappointment in his poem, even he was starved. So that's Su Shi. There is an argument on the name of this poem. We have here is春江晓景, the scenery of the morning of the spring river. The other name is 春江晚景, so everything same, but the scenery of the night. But from the sense of the poem and the feelings of the Su Shi and also the situation of the Su Shi at the time being, the 晓景, the scenery of the morning, looks like more appropriate, which reflects he's looking forward to his career. Just forget the best sentences. 春江水暖鸭先知 or 春江水暖 is used quite often in the modern Chinese or Mandarins. It means the pioneer is very sensitive. He feels the trend changes and he getting to the trend at the first one or the first two. So just like the duck, only the duck feel the springs come and nobody else know it. And Su Shi contribute so many best sentences in 1,000 years, and a lot of them became the 4-syllable or 4-characters idiom 成语. Okay, maybe we can have other chances to talk about that. Let's ramp up for today. And this poem and this video is my little efforts to memorize Su Shi, a great man with a great flavor or taste of the life as well. He has a lot of the erotic stories as well. Okay, let's see if we have the chance to talk about that. Bye bye.